Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. This is not the 3 count with SP3. This is not another show review. And this is not True Hill Heat. We are on the YouTube channel, but this is not another podcast. This is not the 3 count with SP3. This is a 2019 wrap-up. On True Hill Heat 58, we announced our True Hills year-end awards. We talked everything from promotion of the year to most improved to most overrated to the worst major show of the year to the best weekly show. But one award, a lot of people have been asking me, why didn't you guys name a 2019 match of the year? Because myself, your True Hill Phenom, has spent the whole year on our Facebook page, our True Hill Heat Facebook page, giving you my match ratings for pay-per-views. I did a lot at the start of the year. I kind of slowed down towards the end of the year. I gave you a top 10 matches to watch from the G1 Climax. And this week, I've been giving you my top 10 matches from AEW, my top 10 matches from New Japan Pro Wrestling, my top 10 matches from the WWE. I even gave you my top 10 matches from Impact Wrestling. But there is so much wrestling to enjoy, especially in the year 2019. I couldn't give you just a short list of the matches of the year. I'm going to give you a whole top 10 matches of 2019. So we're going to start off from the bottom, work our way all the way to the top, starting at number 10. It was a monster match. It was Tomohiro Ishii versus Shingo Takagi from the G1 Climax 29. This was night 16. This was towards the end of the tournament. Tomohiro Ishii has become Mr. G1 Climax. Every single year at the G1 Climax, Tomohiro Ishii has one of the best matches of the entire tournament. Up until this point, he had great matches with Jeff Cobb, with Juice Robinson, a classic New Japan brawl with Jon Moxley that really put Jon Moxley's name on the map as one of the best wrestlers of 2019. But this, in my eyes, was his best match of the entire G1 Climax 29. This was a match I was very much looking forward to in the lead up to this. Shingo Takagi has came into New Japan Pro Wrestling and has blazed a trail. He had a tremendous run in the Best of the Super Juniors tournament, being undefeated up until the finals. And in the G1 Climax 29, he had good to great matches with Jeff Cobb, with Jon Moxley, with Jay White. He had a great classic matchup with Naito just a few nights before this one, but this one was just a hard-hitting New Japan Pro Wrestling type of match. This was hard hits. It was neck drops. You had suplexes, guys landing on the back of their neck, and then fighting spirit, guys getting dropped on the back of their neck and then getting up and lariating the shit out of each other. Excuse my language. This video is not going to be for kids because a lot of 2019 got me into a lot of slur words because of how incredible the wrestling was. And in this match, it was just hard-hitting action from start to finish. This was the type of never open-weight, hard-hitting match that Tomohiro Ishii has become famous for in the last 6 to 7 years in the G1 Climax. This is similar to his matches with Shibata, with Maccabee, but Shingo just bring a whole different feel to it. Shingo knows how to mix in the hard-hitting action with technical capabilities. His counter work is incredible, and he brought it here. This will not be the last time you hear Shingo Takagi's name on this countdown. Fair warning or foreshadowing. Coming in at number 9, a lot of people are going to be upset with this because I know a lot of people that have this as their number 1 match of the year. Coming in at number 9, it was Kazuchika Okada going one-on-one with Will Ospreay in the G1 Climax 29, Night 7, and this one was probably the best worked match of 2019. When it comes to getting a whole bunch of action into a short amount of time, the 30-minute time limit with G1 Climax matches made this a short amount of time for the classic match these guys can have. These guys can have a 30, 40-plus minute matchup, but this matchup just brought so much action into it. It was the story of Will Ospreay finally defeating Kazuchika Okada. He is now 0-5 against Kazuchika Okada. Okada defeated him in Rev Pro. He's defeated him a couple of times in New Japan. Well, actually 0-4 against Okada. Ospreay, one of the best wrestlers in the entire world. Up until this point, he had his classic matches in the Best of the Super Juniors. He started off the G1 Climax with a great match against Lance Archer. He followed that up with an even better matchup against Sanada. But coming out of those matchups, he suffered a stinger. He suffered a serious stinger to his neck. This became the story of his great match. Honestly, one of my honorable mentions for my top 10 list is Ibushi versus Ospreay from the G1 Climax 29 Night 5, which was all built around Ospreay's stinger as well as Ibushi's injured knee. But bringing it into this match, it didn't really become the focal point of this match. The focal point of this match was Ospreay trying to get out of the shadow of Okada. Okada has been the best wrestler in the world for like almost the past decade. And Ospreay had been trying to get that crown, get that torch from Okada, and this is big brother versus little brother. Ospreay showing the great counter work and high-flying capability that he has, and even the technical wrestling that he can mix in. And Okada showing why he's the best wrestler in the world. This is the best work rate match of 2019. This was just incredible to watch, and I feel that it would be even better and probably be my #1 match of the year if Ospreay would have defeated Okada. It wasn't the right time. I do agree with Gato's booking. Gato is very patient, and he knows when to book Okada losses, and he did a great job. Another honorable mention for my list is Okada versus Sanada from the G1 Climax 29. Probably the most incredible near draw match in G1 Climax history. How they worked the time limit draw, teased it so much, but still had Sanada win in the end. But in this match, Ospreay just couldn't get the job done. And no matter what he did, he reversed everything. He kept reversing the Rainmaker. That was honestly the real story of the match, is how many times Ospreay was able to reverse the Rainmaker in very unique ways. But at the end of it all, Okada was able to nail the Rainmaker and defeat Ospreay. I feel like this match is well-deserved of the 5-star rating that I gave it. Maybe, I don't know if it's worth near 6 stars like Uncle Dave gave it, but a classic matchup. This one is going to get a lot of people upset in the comments section below, I am sure, because a lot of people have this as their #1 match of the year because of the story. Coming in at number 8, it is Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes from All Elite Wrestling Double or Nothing. This match was probably the most unexpected match of the year candidate of 2019. Going into this matchup, they had great promos on All Elite Wrestling social media and YouTube platforms, building up the matchup of an actual little brother versus big brother. We talked about the little brother versus big brother type of mentality in the Okada-Ospreay match. This was actually blood brothers going one-on-one with their father looking down on them, so proud of the men that they have become and the wrestlers that they have become. This was Cody's star-making moment. This is when Cody went from star to superstardom and proved that he is not the 3-star general that people had been hyping him up to be. This was told just a beautiful story from start to finish. You had the cocky, overconfident, entrepreneurial little brother versus the veteran, the gritty, the all-heart big brother. The blood in this matchup was incredible. The little spot, Dustin runs into the exposed turnbuckle and almost immediately starts bleeding buckets. I have not seen a blaze job this deep since the days of Hulk Hogan back in the 90s, shaking it up and his blood going everywhere. Honestly, the blood just added so much to this matchup. It told the story. It had people in the audience with their mouths open or covering their mouths, covering their eyes, because they did not want to see the crimson mask all over Dustin Rhodes. It just told a beautiful story about Dustin Rhodes at 50 years old, having the greatest match of his career and showing so much heart, going through the blade job with so much blood, just impairing his vision, and still would not give up. His comeback sequence is probably the best comeback of the entire year, up there with the best comeback of any babyface in the decade. Dustin Rhodes had a classic performance. Cody had a classic performance. And then the end, the post-match. If I could combine the post-match with the match, then this match would probably move up a little bit higher, but I'm trying to just really rate these matches from bell to bell. Dustin versus Cody is, in my eyes, probably the best AEW matchup of the year, along with the next entrant on my top 10 list. But just the best story told of 2019 was Cody versus Dustin at Double or Nothing. Coming in at number 7, we got the Lucha Bros going up against the Young Bucks at AEW All Out Escalera de la Muerte, the ladder match, TLC style matchup. And I've seen so many ladder matches in my day. I've seen the classic TLC matchups between Edge and Christian, the Hardys, and the Dudleys. I've seen classic one-on-one ladder matches like Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon, or even a little bit after that, Chris Jericho versus Chris Benoit. But when it comes to pure tag team wrestling, when it comes to pure high-flying wrestling, and the stunts and the spots in this matchup, there has never been a more creative ladder match than Escalera de la Muerte. A Canadian destroyer off the top of a ladder into a table. What? A package power driver combination with a foot stomp onto a ladder bridge from the ring to the guardrail. Huh? Nick Jackson's dive when he gets pushed off the ladder, goes through one table and hits his head on the other table. Smack! Oh my God. Just the most brutal, most insane spots of any matchup of 2019 was Escalera de la Muerte. This took ladder matches to a whole nother level. Very well deserving of the over 5-star rating that Uncle Dave gave it and the 5-star rating that I gave it. That is all I gotta say. The most insane match of the decade, Escalera de la Muerte. Coming in at number 6, it was the G1 Climax 29 Finals as Kota Ibushi overcame the Switchblade, Jay White. Jay White versus Kota Ibushi coming in at number 6. Another 5-star rating matchup. I just want to let you guys know, all 10 matches on this list, I gave 5 stars to. In the year 2019, I gave 15 different matches a 5-star rating, but these were the best of the best. Kota Ibushi versus Jay White was, in my eyes, the best babyface versus heel matchup of 2019. You had the heel from the start of the matchup. You had Jay White come out with the entire Bullet Club. The entire Bullet Club standing on the apron across from Kota Ibushi, the lone wolf, the man who was the best friend of one of the aces of New Japan, Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega left to create All Elite Wrestling, and Kota Ibushi stood there as a man alone, but a man with so much heart, so much grit, and so much ability and skill that he would not be denied. It didn't matter if there was 27, 28, 30 members of the Bullet Club. He was going to overcome this because this was his story to tell. Kota Ibushi had an all-time classic G1 Climax. He had great matches against Evil, great matches against Sonata. We talked about the classic matchup he had against Ospreay. Another honorable mention on my top 10 list was his G1 Climax A-Block Finals against Kazuchika Okada. I feel like they're going to even top that on January 4th when they versed at Wrestle Kingdom. But Kota Ibushi showed himself to be one of the best baby faces in the entire world. His selling of his ankle injury, his real ankle injury that he suffered in Dallas against Kenta at the opener of the G1 Climax, it came to the forefront in this match, and it became the whole story. His selling and then Jay White's ability to get heat as he worked on this ankle was incredible. The crowd was 100% behind Ibushi, 100% against Jay White. It didn't matter if Jay White was doing an elbow to the ankle or using the ring post to work on Ibushi's ankle. The crowd despised this man. And then the comeback for Ibushi was incredible. I didn't agree with Jay White kicking out of the Kamigoye, but it took 3 Kamigoyes to finally finish off Jay White, and Ibushi overcame Jay White, the Bullet Club, and was victorious in the G1 Climax 29, and I look forward to his matchups on Wrestle Kingdom weekend this weekend. Coming in at number 5, speaking of Wrestle Kingdom, it was the main event of Wrestle Kingdom 13 as Kenny Omega, the cleaner, the best bout machine, went one-on-one with the ace of the world, Hiroshi Tanahashi. Hiroshi Tanahashi got here by winning the G1 Climax 28 in one of the best performances of his career from the start of the tournament to the end of the tournament. Tanahashi showed why he is one of the greatest performers in the history of professional wrestling. And in this match, they told a great story. The whole build-up was about the tradition of New Japan, represented by Tanahashi, and the coming of age, the modern era style of Kenny Omega coming to the forefront, and those two ideologies going against each other. Kenny Omega playing the role of heel for the first time, I think, in over 2 years, and he played it beautifully. He knew that the crowd would be behind Tanahashi as the old horse who wanted one more ride in the sun, and they told just a beautiful story, just the subtext, like Tanahashi pulling out the table and then putting it back under the ring, and then eventually using the table and doing the high fly flow, but missing, taking one risk too many and falling through the table, and Kenny Omega taking advantage of that, working him over, kind of getting the heat, but at the same time, keeping his fan base behind him. And then the end with Tanahashi making an incredible, the finishing sequence just had so much counter work, so much action-packed, just a great pace to this match. You don't hear about pacing too much in professional wrestling matchups, but this had one of the best paces I've ever seen at a Wrestle Kingdom for a New Japan matchup, and it just took it to a whole nother level. But the build-up was told in the story of this matchup, with Tanahashi going back to his old faithful, the high fly flow, which he used very sparingly in 2018, especially during the G1 Climax. I believe he only used it really in the finals against Kota Ibushi, but he pulled it out here, and it got him the victory over Kenny Omega, and the Ace was able to have one more ride in the sun as the 8-time IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Just a babyface overcoming the odds. Just a great story. And our number 5, another 5-star rated matchup from Omega versus Tanahashi at Wrestle Kingdom 13. Coming in at number 4, it is a rare WWE matchup that I gave 5-star rating to, but of course, it comes from NXT. But this time, NXT UK, as it was Volta defending the NXT or WWE UK Championship against Tyler Bate at NXT TakeOver Cardiff. What a matchup. Just a big man versus little man matchup taken to a whole nother level. The work rate, the storytelling, the pacing, the footwork, the selling. Oh my God, this match was insane. Just all the elements combined together made it just an instant classic of a matchup. Walter has been one of the best big men I have seen in the past decade, especially over the last 3-year period where he has really raised his name and came into the WWE and become the dominant WWE UK champion. You had Walter in the build-up to this matchup, taking out Tyler Bate with the powerbomb on the apron. Tyler Bate came back, Fist of Fury, attacking Walter and then giving him the Tyler Driver 97 on the last go-home show going into this pay-per-view. But in this matchup, it was just about Tyler Bate fighting through everything, the little man trying to overcome this big man. Every one of his comebacks just got an incredible reaction from the crowd. The crowd went nuts for Tyler Bate giving a scoop slam to Walter. A scoop slam to Walter. A scoop slam got one of the loudest pops of the entire night. That is all you need to know about this matchup. And Walter not going to his old faithful, the powerbomb, but having to pull out the extra reserve and the extra arsenal, clotheslining the shit out of Tyler Bate multiple times to finally get the victory. What a great story, and the best big man, little man matchup in my eyes of the entire day. Coming in at number 3, this is a match that not a lot of you have probably saw, but you need to see, and just hit me up on our comment section below if you want me to give you the link to see this matchup. It was David Starr going up against Jordan Devlin for the OTT, Over the Top, in Ireland Heavyweight Championship. Jordan Devlin had been the ace of OTT, been the dominant ace who had defeated import after import that came into OTT. Whether it was Will Ospreay or Marty Scurll, it didn't matter who the import was, he defeated him until he met Volta. Volta came into OTT, the longtime rival of David Starr, who was Jordan Devlin's best friend. Volta had defeated David Starr 10 straight times, but David Starr and Jordan Devlin said together they could defeat Volta. They had a tag team matchup with Volta teamed up with Timothy Thatcher to verse David Starr and Jordan Devlin. Jordan Devlin lifted Volta up, gave him a package power driver, and was about to get a crucial victory over Volta. But David Starr couldn't let his best friend accomplish what he couldn't accomplish. Romeo, 21:40. This means edit this out. I'm just going to see what time it is. It's 7:50. I almost have to work soon. So I got to hurry up. So, yes, he, going back to my story, so yes, he pulled Jordan Devlin out of the ring because he could not see his best friend accomplish the goal that he has set out to accomplish. So this started us off on a run of incredible storytelling, incredible production, incredible matches. Volta defeated Jordan Devlin for the OTT Championship. Then earlier this year at Scrapper Mania 5, Jordan Devlin, in an incredible matchup itself, another honorable mention for this list, defeated Volta to regain the OTT Championship as David Starr looked on with disdain. This was earlier in the year before Jordan Devlin won the championship. To get his matchup with Volta, he defeated David Starr in a classic matchup at OTT Homecoming. But then it built up to this matchup at the 5th year anniversary. And after Jordan Devlin had been the biggest babyface in OTT, due to the great promo work of David Starr, being the representative of all independent wrestling and being a figurehead and a torchbearer for especially UK and Irish wrestling, this became David Starr as the anti-hero, the Stone Cold Steve Austin of OTT versus the Bret Hart, the former hero of OTT, Jordan Devlin, who was booed out the building. The atmosphere for this matchup was simply incredible. You have to witness this. This was the best atmosphere of any matchup of 2019, the best crowd of any matchup of 2019, the work rate, the technical wrestling, the counter work, but most of all, the character work. You had Jordan Devlin realizing that he was the heel to the crowd and using dirty, aggressive ways like working, joint manipulation, and using shortcuts. He used a low blow later on in the matchup. Almost used the OTT Championship if it wasn't for a low blow from David Starr. But David Starr pulling out the grit, using the crowd to his advantage, and pulling out a stand lariat and defeating finally Jordan Devlin in the middle of the ring to win the OTT Heavyweight Championship. The best atmosphere and some of the best character work of any match of 2019, Jordan Devlin versus David Starr. Coming in at number 2, this, in my eyes, I felt was going to be the match of the year, Cannon, the match of the year after I saw it. I was there live, NXT TakeOver New York. It was Adam Cole going one-on-one with Johnny Gargano, 2 out of 3 falls for the NXT Championship. Just incredible work rate. Back and forth, just a great story. This was a 4-year story coming to fruition. You had Johnny Gargano, who came into NXT as basically an alternate in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. He built his way up, DIY, becoming tag team champions, having a great rivalry with the Revival. Then getting betrayed by Tommaso Ciampa, his best friend, and going on a year-long run of classic matches with him. He had classic matches with Andrade Cien Almas along the way. But this was his coming-of-age story coming to the forefront. But you also had another story with Adam Cole, a 2-year story, debuting in the Barclays Center in 2017 at TakeOver Brooklyn. And then to this, 2 years later, getting his big matchup for the NXT Championship. This was 2 stories coming into one with an incredible work rate, incredible counter work, and incredible smart pacing. Just a great pacing of this matchup. The back and forth sequences, and most of all, the finishing sequence. You had the Panama Sunrise, super kicks back and forth, but finally Johnny Gargano locked on the Gargano escape and was victorious. Finally, after 4 years, winning the NXT Championship. What an incredible match. And then there was one. So I named a couple of honorable mentions, and I'll name a few more. I said before, Okada versus Ibushi was an incredible matchup. You have to see to believe. Wrestle Kingdom had a bunch of great matchups with Ibushi versus Ospreay, as well as Naito versus Jericho. Jericho had another great matchup at AEW Full Gear against Cody Rhodes. Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega at Full Gear was incredible. All Out had Pac versus Omega, which was great. AEW Dynamite had Phoenix versus Nick Jackson, which was incredible. Adam Cole versus Daniel Bryan on SmackDown on November 1st was great. But that is just some of the honorable mentions that I had to run through, even though I've named a bunch throughout this list. And then finally, number one, who else? It's Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay going one-on-one with Shingo Takagi at the Best of the Super Juniors 26 is my 2019 match of the year. Just incredible, amazing, fantastic character work, counter work, high flying, big bombs, maneuvers countered after maneuvers, countered into other maneuvers that I just didn't think were possible. This match just had it all. You had Shingo Takagi, who was built up as the Dragon and the big boss of the whole entire junior division. He was 9-0 in the Best of the Super Juniors tournament, undefeated, the first man to be undefeated through a whole block of the Best of the Super Juniors tournament, except for besides Prince Devitt. He's the first man to do it since Prince Devitt, and just a dominant performance. He had great matches against Dragon Lee and Ishimori, and then you had Will Ospreay on the other side, the man that wanted to bring junior division to another level so it could potentially one day main event to Tokyo Dome, and he used all of that grit, all of that emotion. He had been going through so much in his personal life, going through mental problems with his self-confidence and his belief in himself, and he just used all of that to fuel a story that was unlike anything you will see in 2019. Will Ospreay just used every move in his arsenal to defeat Shingo Takagi and just laid everything out on the line. Just the finishing sequence with Ospreay pulling out the Super Os Cutter and moving it into the Stormbreaker. The Stormbreaker, which became now up there with the One-Winged Angel and the Rainmaker as the best finishers in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And he pulled it out in the end to finally defeat Shingo Takagi and win the Best of the Super Juniors 26. He moved on to that and won the Junior Heavyweight Championship at Dominion and has held it ever since. And we look forward to Ospreay versus Hiromu at Wrestle Kingdom 14 with Shingo versus Ospreay. Shingo being a part of LIJ just like Hiromu really leads into. So we are still feeling the aftermath of this match of the year candidate. So that is my top 10 matches for 2019. I want to thank you guys for watching. There was a lot of matches to go through and a lot of things to talk about with 2019 as far as matches of the year. Check me out. I'm going to be back with my top 10 wrestlers of the decade to end off 2019. No more 3 count until we hit 2020, but I hope you enjoy all the new content that we got right here on our True Heel Heat YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, push the like button. If you have a comment or think I missed a matchup or think my order is a little mixed up, post your comment down below in the comment section. And of course, subscribe to stay notified for all the great content right here on True Heel Heat. So, it is me, your True Heel Phenom SP3, signing off for my top 10 matches of 2019. Until next time.